Hendricks with an X.
Keeping just true.
Sue her. She was in charge of sanding it down.
Okay, we're up.
Okay. Let's call the meeting to order. It's Tuesday, February 19, 2019. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Morning up.
Minutes and reports received and filed.
None?
Commissioner Committee Liaison Reports, upcoming meetings, events.
I'm not ready for you. You're moving right on today.
Turn tootin'.
Well, Lincoln has a basketball game tonight. Finally got a home one. If you're not doing anything, $5 a person, I think. MAC Board of Directors tomorrow. Campo Board of Directors tomorrow. And then the ribbon cutting for the Truman VA outpatient clinic is Thursday morning. And then we got a meeting Thursday afternoon again. Chamber Connections Thursday afternoon. Friday and Saturday is the HBA home show. And there's a Wardsville Lions Club barbecue. I think Friday is National Margarita Day. I didn't want to exclude that, so I think that's it.
We gotta celebrate that.
Yeah, Thursday night.
Got a road and bridge meeting Thursday. Looks like all I got.
Okay. I had Cap Region Credentials meeting this morning at 7. I've got their Board of Directors meeting tonight. Tomorrow I've got a Lincoln University School of Nursing meeting at 7:30. Saturday I'm on Hal Dooley's program talking on Cap Region. Monday night I'm going to meet with St. Margaret's in Osage Bend with their quilters to start working on our bicentennial quilt. So I'll go do that. Okay. Presentation from staff, consultants, invited guests. Cole County First Responders Annual Budget Presentation.
Very, very good papers.
Good morning.
Barry, John, how are you?
Thanks, sir.
All right, Mr. Guy.
Thank you, sir.
So in front of you is the budget, the operating budget we've put together for 2019. Very, very similar to 2018 and the years past as well. The changes being our insurance has made some changes and gone up a little bit, but we've made some changes in some other areas to help offset those.
Okay.
Very simple.
Yep.
I don't
We did,
really have any questions. Did you all
No,
Hmm.
want to?
we need to approve this, or do we need to approve and pay the expenditure, or how does that work?
Usually there's an agreement.
I have the agreement, but
Okay.
nobody contacted me, but I can go pull it
Okay.
up right now.
Okay. It's not a big deal.
Apologize.
We can get it done, so
Yeah.
I just didn't know what the process was,
Take me
so
3 minutes.
that's
change the
fine.
date.
Okay,
So,
thank you, sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
all
if you
right.
approve that agreement, the money is in the budget.
Okay.
Okay.
So I move that we approve the agreement with the Cole County First Responders.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you guys
Short and
too
sweet.
for all your help.
Yeah, appreciate all you do.
I'm sure y'all been busy lately
Yeah.
with this weather too.
Yeah, so Yes, thank you.
Thank you, thank you all.
Okay, bids and contracts. And then we got, Jennifer's out sick. You got them? Okay.
Step on up to the plate, big guy.
Yeah,
It's your show now.
I'm not a very good batter.
That's all right. Might get hit.
Wild
I don't
pitcher.
mean, wild pitcher, yeah.
Are you a wild pitcher?
Yeah. I wasn't meaning to threaten you or anything.
You got, they are, but
2019-02 road materials.
let's copy everyone. Yeah, the first one is for road materials, which is 2019-02, which our recommendation is to the lowest and best bidder near the work site with available materials. Which is what we've previously done with all the rest of these in the years, because we have quarries scattered throughout the county. So we actually purchase rock or stuff from actually the closest one where it's easier to haul to quicker.
I move that we award to the lowest and best near the work site with available materials.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
2019-03 blades.
For snowplow and grader blades, this is awarded to the lowest and best in each category with available material. We do have one of these that we ordered blades from this past year that we probably will not, or I can't remember which one it was, because we're having trouble getting them to fit. We have to drive the bolts in the grader blade. So we will be talking to them about that when we do it, but we buy these as needed, and we just purchase them according to who's the lowest in our categories.
Okay, I move that we award grader and snowplow blades to the lowest and best in each category with available material.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I think there's a typo on there too, on the 6-inch. Or item number 6 under the standard highway punch grader blades, the second one. Got $11.24 a blade.
Yeah.
Buy them out.
I'll have to get after Jim for that.
Yeah, I didn't know if we needed to make any kind of notation or anything in it, but
Well, they'll actually will go off of whatever actual document, bid document is. I mean, as far as the bid tab here goes, she can fix that whenever she lists them out on it. But we actually will go by whatever the,
well, those are the ones that are gonna be in the minutes with the clerk, so we may update that. I don't know.
You wanna correct that one to, I'm sure it's 111.24.
That's what I'm thinking,
Yep.
but
probably is.
'cause most of the prices were in the same ballpark, and that one was,
I'm sure it's not $11.
yeah,
I'm sure it's
if not, buy them up, right?
Did you give Jennifer the correct one?
Yeah.
Already vote on that one?
Yeah. Well, I thought he called vote. right?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
You and I said, okay. 2019-04 mosquito spray materials.
And this one is too, is awarded to the lowest and best bid in each category, if they have a material available.
What's,
As you can see, there's quite a bit of difference in
Yeah.
price on some of these. And some of these you have to go through and actually, like the, one of them's biomass, there's 17, the next one 66, and one of them 18. Some of that's based upon how many per acre that they will spray.
Some of these are similar, but they may not be.
Yeah, there might be similar products, but you have to watch when you order these, that make sure that they're per acre. How many acres that they'll actually spray, you have to make sure that they actually meet what you're looking for.
So if it doesn't say how many per acre, then how do you know?
You have to call in and make them, because like here, these got not stated in the biologist on how many it is per acre, and so the DAPCO does. You basically have to go off whatever the manufacturer tells you.
Why don't they include that on the bid so that you can look at that?
That's a good question. I'm not sure why they didn't include it in the bid, because as you can see, it's in our bid. It tells you to put a price per acre for using that spray.
So are they incomplete bids? If they don't have it in there?
I guess, yes, you could say that, yes.
I think you just gotta leave it up to them to figure it out.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we generally will go through there.
If it's
and
an
make sure
incomplete bid, it's an incomplete bid.
competitive.
Yeah.
We gotta figure out that part of putting that on there so that it's there, because it's $66 per gallon versus $18 per gallon. I'd rather them guys be out there taking care of the roads than sitting there trying to cipher, especially Cliff. I was just picking on you.
We definitely will check, make sure, if we ever have to spray for mosquitoes again, which I hope not.
Yeah, this is probably a bad one to,
We
have to
haven't had
compare.
to use it for several years now.
Don't say that, you,
Well,
I
with the
don't-
new,
yeah,
Policy, we got it.
with new policy.
Yeah.
it's-
Just don't do it. So,
Good with awarding this then, or not?
kind of.
You good?
I'm good.
Move that we award mosquito spray materials to the lowest and best in each category with available material.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. 2019-05 vegetation spray materials.
This is a recommend award to the lowest and best in each category with available materials.
So moved.
We actually use these for,
Cliff, stop talking.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay.
This one was easier than the other one. The other one I didn't
At least-
complete.
2019-06 leased equipment.
recommend award to the lowest and best bid in each category with available equipment.
Okay. You guys good?
Mm-hmm.
I move that we approve the leased equipment and award to the lowest and best in each category with available equipment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
God, you did a better job than Jennifer. You know, I just,
Thanks, Cliff.
Jeff has to pick them.
You know Jennifer's gonna come back and she's probably listening to this right now. She be
she's sick, she's on medicine.
Uh-huh.
Okay, do we have any unfinished business? New business, accounts payable review?
There are none for today.
Good, okay. Second and final reading of budget adjustment number 1.
This is a budget adjustment for $6,192.16. It's one-time additional funding for the Public Health Emergency Preparedness Grant, and I do need action today.
It's a court order.
Yep.
I move that we sign court order number 1.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. LEPC Annual Chemical Emergency Preparedness Funds Grant Application.
Yes. This is the annual grant we put in every year. Chemical Emergency Preparedness Funds run through the LEPC, Local Emergency Planning Committee. What this usually brings into the county is about $4,500 to $5,000 a year that we receive. These funds are used to keep our hazmat plan up to date, to purchase equipment and supplies or anything that might be needed for the local emergency response agency. to help them to engage in combat any type of chemical emergency. So, all ready and ready to go. Not even due till May, so we're early.
Okay.
So I think I've explained before, but all the companies in the county that carry certain limits of hazardous materials, O'Reilly Store, Walmart, all the fuel stations, they have to pay a fee into the state to whatever quantity they carry. 65% of that money goes to the state, and the remainder comes back to each county. So that's where the funds actually come from.
Done? I move that we approve and sign the grant application.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
While you're up here, I got a letter today from State Emergency Management. Letter to advise you of completion of the fiscal year 2018 Emergency Management Performance Grant. Records show that this grant had federal funds available, amount of $4,092.77, which has been deobligated in accordance with the final reimbursement request. Federal funds are changed to $63,333.23 from the original award amount of $67,426.
Okay. So that 4,000 was funds that we put in. A lot of that, we always have a deobligation amount every year. Most of this was, you remember last year we did all the batteries and all the outdoor siren, the outdoor systems, replaced that. I put a line item in that this year in case we had some. We didn't have to use that. I was able to take some of that money out though and pay for the repairs that we had to use back when we had the lightning strikes and some windstorm damage. So we was able to choose a lot of money from that. Here's that one.
Okay.
You only got one line. Wheeler's got about 6.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not climbing on the roof today to get him signed.
Okay.
No, I forgot about that too, when you was mentioning other.
Yeah, he was on the radio this
That's
morning.
today, too.
And tonight
Cops on
and
top.
tomorrow.
No
Yeah.
snowball day tonight.
Goof on the roof, is that what he is?
No, he was.
Cop on top. that's
He's
right.
worried more about Larry doing something to him than anybody else. Okay, discussion of ESM floats.
EMS.
Huh? EMS.
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 Parade
said
time
ESF.
already, you gotta talk about floats.
Whatever. Yeah.
Here you go, Lynn, while you're up, I'll give you those.
Right there
Or-
on one line, Sam.
Right there.
I'm sorry. Throwing stuff at you.
Thank you.
Morning, gentlemen. This would, what this is looking for 3 additional paramedics in order to help cover the vacation, sick time, long-term leave in the department. As they come up, as you know, we have, quite a number of employees, and when they take time off, we need to help cover that on a consistent basis. Questions?
Yeah, we've been discussing it, Kristen and Jill, and if we can come up with an agreement that they would sign, where they're truly floats. They go where they're needed, so they could be on an ambulance, they could be doing staff work, they could be doing whatever needs to be done.
So I think that within the confines of the employment, right, so they would be placed where they were needed. So I don't think that necessarily an agreement would be necessary. It would be part of their job description. So in all of our job descriptions, it has other duties as assigned, and we are making them sign their job descriptions now. So that's part of that is other duties as assigned. So, and it outlines all the different administrative things as well.
Okay,
So.
maybe get with Jill and work it up.
We just want to make sure that we currently have 2 different rates for trucks, that this person can cross over some way and fill where they're needed when they're there. So we want to make sure we have an agreement that allows them to do that.
But right now, you're saying keep them covered, have the floats covered 24. Is there actually gonna be 24-hour employees, or you're saying to see if we can work something where they can cover 12?
Well, so Jill and I were talking this morning and said that there's a possibility if we would have them sign something, an agreement saying that that was their duties, that
But
they
it
could
wouldn't be-
possibly cross over.
But then you'd have to do the blended overtime or not?
No, we're just, what you would do is just treat this as a separate position that, and the reason why we're talking about the agreement is that they would agree that they would receive this rate regardless of whether they're working a 12 or a 24. There is an exception in the Code of Federal Regulations to the blended overtime, and but it requires an agreement to be in writing between the employer and the employee. And that's probably wouldn't work here, but what it is overtime is paid on the individual hours worked at 2 or more different rates. So this, we thought it would be simple just to have the floater
Make it-
rate.
Yeah, have a rate
And-
that's assigned
and
to
just,
them.
you know, having it in writing that I understand I'm not gonna get paid the higher rate even though I'm on the 12-hour truck. Does that make sense?
So then you're gonna hire them at the 24-hour rate?
Well, their schedule would be 24, correct?
But they could fill in on a 12-hour rate if they agreed to do so and we needed them, so, I mean, I'm okay with that as long as they're okay with it.
I think that's the
There's-
question we need answered, is that okay? Is create a rate for a float and let them switch around, or are you putting in a float and they can only work 24s?
If I'm afloat, I'm not gonna work a 12-hour shift after I just got done working my 24-hour shift and get a less amount of pay. for
Well, I
working
think in
the
this
peak.
circumstance, though, it's gonna be more of, you're scheduled for a 24, but I have a 12 truck that's open, cause I didn't have that person show up. So while you're there on your 24-hour shift, I need you to fill that 12 truck.
If that works,
But that's it, we need to,
cause you can't have, are you gonna have them working 2 12-hour
They're working a
shifts? 'Cause
24-hour
that'd be-
shift. I don't get it. It's not what it is. I mean, they're working a 24-hour shift. They're just working where we tell them to work.
But if you got them on a 12-hour truck, that's a peak truck, and
But
that's not
doesn't
where
matter.
they're gonna get a chance to get the rest that they need to have, and that's always been one of my concerns, is if you're gonna be on a 24-hour shift, you gotta be able to stay fresh.
It doesn't matter what
So-
truck they're working on. They're working a 24-hour shift.
But they could be working 24 hours if you got them on peak truck, right? We got them doing transfers, they're pulling their weight the whole 12 hours. 24 hours, they have to have some downtime, so.
So I think there's some administrative processes that we can put in place to meet both intents.
But you don't like to see us argue?
It's just the first time hearing of it, so.
I can't
think
even see him right
that's-
now because it's a damn trophy.
That's
Put
the
that
Jeff
sun-
Helsher, that's the Jeff Helsher trophy.
Well, so what are you wanting to do with it then? They can fill whatever,
They're working a 24-hour shift. I mean, so they're a 24-hour paramedic. They get paid like every other 24-hour paramedic. And
but not if they're working a 12-hour shift.
They're not working a 12-hour shift. They're working a 24-hour shift. They're filling the holes that we have.
If
I
they
mean,
fill
whatever
one
that
12-hour
is.
shift, they're only filling 12, not a 24-hour shift though.
They're gonna fill the 12 and then they're gonna work another 12.
You're gonna have them work another 12 then, for somebody that's not
or-
sick.
Or wherever.
But
But
doing
if-
whatever needs,
If
So I
you just
think-
have one person sick for that 12-hour shift, the person that takes over after that,
So I think the reality
It may
is
not
is
even
that
be
we
12
have
hours.
more than one 24-hour person off per day on a consistent basis. In December, we had one shift, one day throughout the entire month that we did not have a 24-hour person off. So I think in reality that they're going to be filling those 24 hours on a more consistent basis because I can utilize them at a greater extent.
I want them to be able to fill anything.
But I do think
But
that we can
I
look at.
also think they're getting
the-
cheated.
I think if we look at the FLSA and making sure that that all fits, that if we have a 12-hour spot open, that we can slide them over into that. Does allow them to have some rest time elsewhere because then we can have them shift to a different
put that in your office.
truck. So I think that administratively, we can make that work. We're just gonna have to sit down. Again, this is the first time hearing of this part of it, so I just need to sit down and look at it. And I think we can make it work.
Well, that's what we figured, this is probably the best way to make it work, so.
Well, we need to include Matt on these conversations, so I haven't heard of it either, so.
It
We just
came up
talked to it this morning.
Who did?
Huh? Joe walked in.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
well,
talked.
I didn't hear anything about
we
that
talked
part
about
either,
it
so.
this
We just heard
morning.
you couldn't do it is what I was hearing. And so I was fine with getting the floats, letting them fill 24-hour shifts and just keeping them at 24. And then we could look at the rest of it and address that. So. I mean, there's a bunch of other stuff about talking to HR and finding out what we can and can't do, so.
That's where Joe comes in.
No, that's where an HR person comes in. So, our human resources professional comes in.
And we put money in the budget for it, so. we
Right.
just
Well,
gotta
and
figure out
Jennifer's working on it,
If
so.
we're gonna do a consultant or get a person hired or what we're gonna do with it.
Are we good here?
So right now you're hiring 3 floats and they're scheduled for 24s and working only 24s.
So I think
That's not what I'm agreeing to. I'm hiring a 24-hour person to fill in wherever is needed. I mean, if you're gonna limit people, then I'm not in agreement for that. I mean, that's an administrative thing that Matt needs to take care of. I mean,
So right now we need to decide if there's an administrative way to do that where they can work multiple shifts without blending their rate. Because if there's not, then you're going to have to blend their overtime.
So are you wanting to pay them 24-hour shift for if they fill a 12?
it's
or
not a blended rate. I mean, so if you're saying that they're doing different duties on different trucks, then that's a different scenario. And we can talk about that now, but they are performing a duty. Am I wrong, sir?
No, so I think the only question that we would have to clear up is the FLSA side of, so we should be able to put them because they're working 24 hours. With any time within the 24-hour shift, are they filling, right? So the shift is what we're worried about, not the unit that they're working on. So that's the question that we need answered by someone with HR, that can say, within 24 hours, does it matter where I put them within a 24-hour period, or is it unit-based? Where I've been before, it's always been the 24-hour side. It's not been unit-based. It's what you're scheduled to work. Where I put you within that time frame doesn't matter. It's that's your schedule. Because that's why we changed their hourly rate. Is really not what unit they're working. It's the hours that they're working. In this instance, they're working 24s, so I think that we should be able to slide them into any of those positions within that 24-hour period.
I agree with Matt on that.
And
So, I mean, in this instance, float 1 is gonna work 24 hours on Monday.
Correct.
He's gonna work wherever we need him.
That is the intent of what we're trying
Right,
to do.
so, I mean, that's the way I see it.
If
It's not person A working Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, working a 12-hour shift.
Correct.
He's working Monday.
So as long as that's the differentiation and it's not, this is a peak and this is a non-peak,
Well,
as long as this is a 24-hour shift and this is a 12-hour shift and you're paying them what the rate is for the shift they're working, that there's no differentiation between the two being different.
Right.
Right.
Because the pay is based on number of hours worked.
Okay.
So you start mixing that up in there, then you get a question of, is this really 2 different types of work?
Right.
Which will get you hung up with the FLSA if you're paying 2 different rates.
My only hang up was putting them on a 12-hour, and I'm calling it a peak, because they are peak, they're balls to the wall for that 12, so. But we also don't have back-to-back 12-hour or peak ambulances. There are downtimes on those ambulances.
Right, and we can shift them to
So-
a slow station in the evening time to help with that. Realistically, I mean, in all reality, most of these shifts are gonna be covering, or these employees are gonna be covering 24-hour shifts, because that's where we have our holes as well. And so I think it's just a matter of administratively looking at where do we best utilize these individuals. We know we need them. I don't think that that's anything because of vacation, sick time, long-term medical leaves, things like that. I think it's more of just an administrative, function of where we put them.
You can make it work. I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
I understand what Chris is saying. If they're there for 48 hours, that's what they're getting paid. If you got them pushing a broom, washing trucks, or stopping blood. But I know one time, and this was before you, that we had some issues with the 24s and the 12s and who was actually having to do the work because a lot more carrying their loads. So, and I know you'll hold them to task. See you grinning about that already, but, so. Is that enough direction, or do we just cloud
Yeah,
the
I'm
water
good
more?
if
So,
that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, so I
Okay.
move that we approve the 3 EMS float positions.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, gentlemen.
That work for you too, Kristen?
A little more than 4
Everybody knows
minutes, but we've
No,
got
that's different when
we've
it's-
had
Alright.
another discussion.
You're
but
up.
Well, do
You're
you
up.
have something, Locke, that you needed to, whole business, or? you-
No, we're doing the legal.
Closed
Oh,
session.
okay. Oh, okay.
Courtyard Drive, right?
Thank you, sir.
This is part of the Meadowbrook Estate Stormwater and Street Improvements Project. Courtyard Drive was kind of the last component, and it's a concrete street that we had planned to do pavement replacement of bad concrete panels, and if you look at it, it's a fairly substantial amount of the road. And with
There's two
delays
roads
due to
there.
other things with the
These got
project, this
split.
part got pushed into this year, and an idea came up of removing all of the concrete pavement and going back with asphalt. The asphalt price is a cheaper square yardage price than the concrete, and so to add the extra pavement is not, we're not talking double the price. It's roughly about, when you add everything else in, about, I came up with about 35 to 40,000. The contractor had about 65. I think we'll probably meet in the middle somewhere. There's a question of how much extra removal price that they would have on, because whenever they bid removals for an overall project, it's a lump sum number. And so we have to break out what their true cost is for removals of the concrete that they have already in here and add to that to take out the rest of it. Normal little things like this, we just change. It's on normal with a project. We change things and don't really need to bring them to the commission just because they're part of the overall project. This is pretty substantial, and I was talking to Chris and suggested that we bring it to the commission, just get your all's feedback on if you'd like to go this route or leave it like it is. I will say with doing the asphalt, it'll make the tear out and replacement a lot quicker than it will be to do individual panels of concrete. Some of the concrete areas are larger, but it still takes a lot to take those out and pour them back. So the time to get it put back will be a lot quicker. They estimated about 2 weeks. Probably 3 is more realistic. One unknown is subgrade stabilization. When you're doing concrete panel replacement, you typically don't get into too much of that. Taking the whole road out and putting back asphalt, sometimes it can open up areas that you wouldn't necessarily find doing just small panel replacement. So that is a little bit of an unknown. But we do have a bid price in the contract for that if we run into it. Just looking at the pavement right now, I don't think there's too much of an issue with subgrade, but you just don't know until you get into it. It's mostly just concrete falling apart due to issues with the concrete itself. So the cost, we're looking at somewhere between, and this would be an add-on to the project, let's just say about 45, 50 in that range. When you figure everything, the deducts for what they were going to do with the concrete and then the add-ons to add the extra asphalt. So just wanted to see what you all thought about that, if that's a route we want to go. If we did this, I would propose to take the additional cost out of the overlay amount for this year out of this year's budget, so it wouldn't impact the project directly that we were under contract for, so.
So you think the total cost would be how much more? I mean,
Roughly, let's just say about 50,000. There's a
That
lot
would-
of little odds and ends to figure in.
That would include extra removals, subgrade stabilization.
It would not include subgrade stabilization. That number's not figured into that. Because we don't have any currently for this. I'm hoping that we don't get into any with the complete removal and putting back with asphalt, but it does, you open up yourself to more possible issues when you take the whole pavement out. So,
This is a monolithic street with curb integrated, so you're gonna cut the curb and gutter
yeah.
basically away from the street.
Yes, if you look at some of the pavement removal areas, it includes the curb, and so that would be replaced anyway as curb and gutter. Some of that curb that was coming out because of the pavement itself was bad, so we may be able to save some. There's a lot of little odds and ends that get figured into what the final cost will be. But yes, we would, where the curb is good, we would just saw the pavement at the gutter line and keep the curb in.
So this was one of those that, and we're doing this over on Wilmore right now, where we're basically cutting out a bunch of bad spots and fixing it, and it's a temporary short-term fix that's gonna have to get fixed again at some other point in time, and this makes a whole lot more sense, and we've done so much work in this subdivision that it really looks good, and you know, to leave one street that basically we're patching, I mean, for better words, I mean, I just don't think that makes a whole lot of sense, and for the minimal amount that this is gonna cost, it's gonna have to be a much better product.
I'm fine with it.
So that shaded green was all the stuff that was gonna be replaced? Or a little darker shaded?
Yes.
Yeah.
And the bigger, longer sections, you get a good product with that. You run into the problem where you have those kind of chopped up little smaller pieces kind of here and there. And here's another thing to mention that could affect the difference that we won't ever know is when you do get into pavement replacement or patching and whatnot, usually your quantities get a lot higher than what you had planned. And we had, I think, 20% added to it just to account for that, but you sometimes even go above that. Parkview Meadows was a good example of one when we had that. So, you know, it's hard to say what a true cost difference is gonna be. But just on paper, we're probably looking at in the 50,000 range.
I'm good.
So, what I'll do is, when we get a little closer to figuring out some final quantities, I'll bring a change order to you if we want to do that, or we can just wait till the end and do a final closeout change order. That's what we do sometimes too. So, all I really care for today is just, you know, approval to go proceed with this direction, if that's what y'all want to do.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea.
Okay.
Because you're gonna have a brand new road, brand new street. Afterwards, it's an additional cost now. Should be worth it.
What we found in the past when we do these little patches is within a few years, that just moves, the problem just moves to the next section. So I think it's better off doing it this way.
Well, in your patches, it's almost a whole road anyway, and just in parts, or, I don't know, there's a lot of it being replaced.
Yeah.
So to have the whole thing new,
Especially the incoming lane, it's real bad shape, so.
What do you need from us today, Eric? Just approval?
Just approval, I mean, or
Okay.
a vote, or how you want to do it, but I don't need anything signed.
Okay. Move that we approve the proposed changes to the Courtyard Drive project.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank
Okay.
you.
So you're
Thank
gonna
you.
look at doing a lot of these in the future like this then probably, or kinda kicking around?
The Sleepy Hollow one, that one, there was so much more pavement to do a full replacement of that would have just been way out of the budget, so what we're doing on that is a pavement replacement. We have one on Kensington that we're gonna do, we're gonna mill it and lay asphalt on it. That's another option, that's kind of a little bit better than a patching, but not a full, full upgrade, so, we do that in places. We're just trying to hit the bad ones and do what we can when we can, so.
Well, that one had a lot of bad spots, so
this,
by the time you redo it all, it makes perfect sense on that one, but if there's other ones that you can just, you know, put Band-Aids on and it's gonna help it, then that makes sense on those too.
yeah, and we do that regularly on our bad areas.
Kensington actually needs to have, it needs to come out too, but it's a dead end street with a bunch of apartments, and it'd be a nightmare to try to get it out and put back, so I'm gonna try to mill it and overlay it.
I've done one of these for a number of years, so I'm gonna try it and see how it works.
The Meadowbrook subdivision, most of those streets were concrete and they were milled and overlaid back in about early 2000s. So it'll get you pretty good life, but sometimes by the end of that, then you do have to do a full replacement by doing a mill and fill.
Okay.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
All right, thank you.
Ron. Okay, we got anything else?
Nope.
Oh,
I move we go into closed session pursuant to section 610.021 of the revised statutes of Missouri for legal issues sub 1 and personnel issues sub 13.
Second.
roll call?
Sam,
Yes.
Jeff,
Yes.
Chris.
Yes. You go first.